Kyle?
Mountner.
There he is. All right, we're good. I thought he froze, and I was like, great, he's there, he's not there. All right, we're good. Starting the show.
This is Talkin Hoopz, the show that discusses real NBA stories, gives you all the latest rumors, and gets you into heated debates.
It's dunks and layups. How many of his points have been jump shots? 0.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
0.
It's not happening. Not in this NBA. Maybe in the fantasy NBA that they're playing in, but not in this NBA.
We're going to challenge each other in practice.
We talking about practice, not a game.
Once the game starts, it's going to be easy.
You better get off whatever you're smoking.
Strap in, get your popcorn, put your headphones on.
This is Talkin Hoopz.
It's Rudy Gay checking out Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz, the official talk show of NBRPA Miami.
Talkin Hoopz starts right now.
Talkin Hoopz. TalkinHoops.com. AJ, Kyle, Mark Strickland with you for the show. NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. Check them out. I got a lot of energy tonight. The Heat Pacers series, the Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's a good series. We got Kevin Love. Where's he going? He wants out of Minnesota. Derek Fisher, is he the next coach of the Knicks? Or is Mark Jackson? That broke earlier today. We got more on that and lots more to talk about. Guys, how's it going?
Cool.
You like that?
Cool.
You like that?
Playing cool.
Kyle's a Pacers fan all of a sudden.
Yeah, he always jumping ship, man. 1 minute he with the Knicks, the next minute he with OKC, the next minute he with somebody else. He get a little talk today. We played like crap, though. That's the only thing that happened. We'll see in a minute. We'll see in a minute. We'll see if he got the gusto in a minute.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I'm a fan of the NBA. Okay. So if I wear a Pacers hat, it's because I like the NBA. If I wear a Grizzlies hat, it's because I like the NBA. I don't have to rep my Knick hood every single day. It's like in my heart, I know where I lie, but I want to spread love because you know why? It's the Brooklyn way. You guys should know that by now. Biggie told you that in the 90s. Spread love is the Brooklyn way. All right? That's my thing. Now, it's funny because I was listening to that intro, and LeBron said, we're going to challenge each other ourselves in practice because it's going to be easy. And it has been easy overall for the most, over these past few years, it's been easy for the Heat. Outside of last year's finals where the Spurs really took it to them, they've won with little resistance. But today is the day that the Miami dynasty could come crumbling to the ground, okay? Mark it, because this history right here. This is history. This could be the day that the entire Miami Heat, not 1, not 2, not 3, can fall apart. Because if the Heat lose and go down 0-2, I don't think they're coming back to beat the Pacers. And on top of that, everybody can opt out this summer. So we may be seeing the end of an era with the big three in Miami. That means no more parties for Mark. That means no more barbecues for Mark. He can't hang out no more. All right? That means no more Alonzo morning get-togethers because nobody's going to be celebrating anymore down in South Beach. So this could be it, Mark. You better take it in now, baby.
All right.
Because this you're in for a lot of losing.
This is not okay, Strick's tweeting again, everybody. I got it. I got it. He's tweeting. I love it. I love it. It just pops up on my phone. Oh, man. No, you know what? I think the Pacers are too inconsistent. I don't believe it's one game. I really still think the Heat are going to make it to the finals. I'm not too worried right now. And from the looks of it, look, Chris Bosh didn't have that great of a game. So let's assume that's not going to happen again. I don't think it is. I really don't. What do you think?
My turn. Man, we just had a bad game. We played with no energy, no effort. We couldn't make no threes. It was the worst defensive rotating game I ever seen the Heat play. It was like we just showed up and we had no game plan, no nothing. Now, when the Pacers are making shots like that, cool. They're a great team. I like the Pacers. But they're not going to be able to do that 4 games in a row. We've been seeing it. They've been going out against Washington 30 points, 20-some points, man. All it takes is one of them games, and the Heat going to bury them. But we'll see, like I said earlier, we'll see tonight what happens. We'll see what they do tonight. If they're a good team, if they're consistent, they'll win tonight at home. But if they don't, they're in trouble when they come down here 1-1. We did what we were supposed to do. We got one on the road. That's all we need to do.
Now, a lot of people said that the matchup with the Heat and the Pacers have been waiting for this, but because of all the mishaps that they've had throughout the whole season, I don't see them being consistent. I don't. And they almost blew it against Washington. I mean, look, Kenny Smith said you could win this way. He said it's never been done, but a team that can be so high and then so low, it could be done. It's just it hasn't happened yet. So I don't really like the Pacers because of the inconsistency. When that team was playing really well, I mean, they were a well-oiled machine. Everybody was contributing. You were getting the right guys to step up, hit big shots. Everybody was playing their role. And then all of a sudden, Roy Hibbert just fell off. He was a totally different player. Now he's back. Which Roy Hibbert are you going to get every game of this series? Everybody knows if the Heat have a weakness, it's on the boards. It comes down to rebounds and beating them inside. Roy Hibbert has to play well this whole series. He has to. Because the other guys, they're not
well 4 games in a row.
Right. They're not gonna get it from everybody else every single night. You know, they don't have heroes like that.
Which he will not do.
Right. And if you look at it, LeBron James still the best player in basketball. I don't really have an issue with LeBron, but I do think if he sees a guy is not on, if Chris Bosh is having a bad game early, he's got to know from the get-go it's going to be him this game. He's got to take over. He can't wait till towards the end of the game to be, all right, you know what? I'm going to start taking all the shots now. I'm going to be the guy. It's too late for that. You got to do this maybe second quarter when Chris Bosh has missed like 5-6 shots already. You gotta take over. Dwayne Wade's not feeling it. You gotta take over. You can't just keep looking for guys. You gotta insert yourself.
All right. This is what it is.
Oh,
all right.
Here we go.
Men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't lie. You guys can say this guy played well, this guy didn't play well, blah blah blah. I go off of numbers. I'm a facts only kind of guy.
Yeah, I know. Stats.
These are the facts that I saw.
Right, and the facts that you saw throughout the other series too. I'm just saying.
Please talk about the threes. Talk about the threes. Go ahead.
I'm not going to talk about the threes. All right.
Sure. That plays a part in it.
But wait, hold on. Let me start with my numbers. All right.
All right.
Size matters. That's what the Heat don't have. And guess what? Player fouls. Indiana with 15, Miami with 26. Okay? Miami almost doubled the amount of player fouls in that game 1. Okay? The Pacers, they were at the line way more. 37 free throw attempts to 15. Completely doubled the free throw attempts. Okay? Now, well, why is that? Well, let's take a look. Chris Bosh, okay? That's your big man. That's your starting power forward, starting center, depending on where he plays. 4 player fouls and only 9 points, okay? Size has disrupted him clearly. Hibbert, West, those boys are not to be messed with down low. Now, we always said that the Heat are undersized, and that's why they struggle against the Pacers. That's why this matchup works so well in Indiana's favor, okay? Look at the other big man for the Heat, Chris Anderson. 4 player fouls. Well, I'm starting to see a little bit of a trend here. All of the Heat big men can't stay out of foul trouble.
In one game. One game.
Wait a minute. And that's all we can go off of. So that's what I'm going off of. Is one game. So now look at this. When you look at the big men from the Heat and how much they've struggled now, you on top of that have wasted. Chris Anderson had a 14-point game. How many times is Chris Anderson going to chip in with 14 points? You wasted his performance. Dwayne Wade put up 27 points, arguably his best game in the postseason thus far. Wasted. Okay? This is a big problem. Okay? And this can finally be the year where size destroys the Heat. Now, they knew that this was going to be a problem in the offseason. They went out and got Greg Oden. Yeah. That didn't work out so well. They never did anything since. Okay, and that's going to be a problem. I really believe that size is going to be the determining factor. And if you're going to be outshot at the free throw line by 17, 18, you're not going to beat the Pacers. So matchups, they're going to have to do something. But Bosch is not going to be able to hang with West and Hibbert down low. You can't do that to him. It's not fair to him.
Yeah.
Go.
We just got to speed the pace up. 1. 2, we got to change the lineup. We can't have LeBron on West. That's a fact. We got to change the lineup. Got to do something with the lineup. We got to do something different with the lineup. The lineup wasn't a good lineup. I agree on that. But, you know what I'm saying? It was just an off game to me. We didn't play with any energy, any effort. We had bad rotation. Some of the fouls were like petty fouls, late rotation fouls. You know, if you're there early, you're going to get a charge. You know, and then their bigs in foul trouble, and then we could take advantage of their small lineup or to be more even. What we have in our balance because we have the best player in the league, which they don't have. We got the best player in the league. So that's all we got to do. We got to start off early. We can't get down. We can't keep waiting until the last minute to play ball. We got to play ball from the jump. Like, this is the conference finals. This is not like the other series. You're playing against an opponent that taught all summer about how they wanted to get finished in first because that's all they needed to beat them last year. Now they're in this situation. Now we just got to play. The first game, we didn't play. They just didn't play.
And here's
they didn't move the ball well. They didn't do nothing well. Played with no discipline, no game plan.
Here's the thing that I saw that is very uncharacteristic of Miami, which showed to me that they're in a lot more trouble than we think. Okay, I know it's only been one game. But that team, you're always talking about discipline, Mark. Miami is a disciplined team.
Yep.
That Mario Chalmers foul where he pushed C.J. Watson into the broadcasting table, that said a lot because that's your starting point guard and frustration set in, and it's only game 1. No, you're the champions. You're the back-to-back champions. You're the top team, and yet you're pushing the backup point guard for Indiana to the ground on a fast break. Discipline, all right? That you're always preaching that. That is not a hard foul. That's just a bad play. All right? There's a difference between hard fouls and undisciplined. That was undisciplined.
I mean, that's why I added bad game to that. It was a bad game. It was a lot of uncharacteristic things that we did in that game, man, that the Heat don't usually do. It was just a bad game. I mean, you're gonna have a bad game. That comes with it. We'll see how they bounce back tonight. And then next week, you know, I'll be saying that, you know, we're up probably like 3-1. And then we'll be having the same conversation again. You'll be talking about, oh, the Pacers had a bad game, and oh, Hubert didn't have a good game. And oh my God, you know, you're not gonna have a game where the star player shoots 1 for 25, then your excuse is gonna come out. See, I'm not giving you no excuses. At least I'm giving no excuses.
All right, wait.
Every time, man, you wrong, you give 1,000 excuses. Even AJ can say it. You excuse.
Oh, I'm sorry. Exactly.
Yes, I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you, Sam. I'm saying, hey, they had a bad game. 1, and they did a lot of things uncharacteristic of the Heat. That's all it was. It was a bad game. They took advantage of a bad game.
I listened to both you guys. You both bring up valid points. I think we can all agree, though, as the defending champions, they had a bad game. If this trend continues, then Snowball over there could tell us, yeah, he was right, okay?
But why did they have a bad game? It's because of who they're playing.
Right.
Well, that's what's called adjustment. So now coaching has to come into play. Hey, we can't go with this lineup. This ain't working, so we got to make some adjustments.
It wouldn't shock me at all if the Pacers got blown out this next game.
That's what I'm saying.
It wouldn't shock me at all.
Oh, well, here we go again.
And look, I'm not knocking what you're saying.
That's my point. You never know.
I'm not knocking what you're saying, Kyle. I don't disagree with you. What I am going to say is you're backing a Pacers team that just completely fell off.
New confidence.
All right, you're giving them a new confidence. This is Snowball giving them a new confidence. They handled
Washington pretty well. Okay, everybody thought that series was going to go 7 after they couldn't close out Atlanta quickly. They took care of Washington, who's arguably, or not arguably, who is a better team than Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they're playing the Heat. They've got home court advantage. They beat them in game 1, so already they know they can beat the Heat. They already beat them in game 1. At least you know now you can beat the Heat. Now that's in their minds. And you got to think, at what point do the Heat say, wow, this Indiana team, we're actually concerned? Or are they concerned already? Because to me, outside of LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, that team, they may have won a championship,
but they're not in that mindset. You've got the Pacers already up one game. What happens if the Heat go down 2? We've never seen the Heat in a situation like that with this team. The last time we saw that was when they lost the finals 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was.
So then all we got to do, say we lose tonight, all we got to do is come home, win 2 games, tie series. That's why
we've never seen the Heat be down 2-0 like that to a team like the Pacers. I don't know how they're going to respond. I don't know how Chris Anderson responds to that. I don't know how Norris Cole responds to that.
All right, look, here's another thing I'm going to say. Wait, Straight, this is one thing I'm going to put into play.
Now that it's hard, you want it to be easy again, now they got problems because all of a sudden they done played a bad game and they reached some adversity. It's going to be some adversity. That's what everybody been complaining about.
I want to put this into play here, okay? The Nets swept the Heat in the regular season. Everybody said the Nets had their number. Now, most people knew, that weren't Net fans, realistically, this is a different animal you're playing in the playoffs, okay? I even said they're lucky if they win 2 games. They're lucky. They didn't even win 2. They're lucky because they weren't good. They're not good enough. But they swept the Heat in the regular season.
Exactly.
Look, the Pacers, same thing. They played really well against the Heat. They give them matchup problems, just like the Nets gave them matchup problems. But guess what? It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like Mark said, you got the best player in the world on your team. If he just, like I said before, if he just gets going at the right time, if a guy's off, he's got to take over. Go through their defense. Just break him down. As LeBron James, you can't contain him. I don't care how good of a defender you are. You can't contain a force like that. You just can't.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Yes.
All right. Do you think a 25-point, 10 rebound, 5 assists, 3 steal game is a good game?
It's a great game.
LeBron James did that, and they still lost.
Right.
This guy dropped a double-double.
No. Wait.
You're saying, if LeBron James, he's the best player in the world, if he gets going. This guy had an insane game that nobody talks about because they lost, but he dropped a ridiculous double-double with 5 assists and 3 steals to go with it.
Look.
And they still
It was a great game, but there's a difference between dropping 25 points and dropping 50. If your guys are missing, LeBron could have had 20 assists that game, realistically.
Same deal that he did last year. Remember last year, D-Wade had the family problems, man, when didn't nobody know, and he came and he was kind of down, and LeBron dropped like 40-something. Did the same thing last year against Boston.
That's what you need.
40-something.
That's
Everybody was
what you
talking,
need.
this over. He came back, dropped 40-something. Got the W.
I'm not knocking LeBron.
Does the Pacers have anybody that can do that? No.
Yes. Paul George and
man.
Lance Stevenson.
Look.
Man, please, man. He's a head case, man. He's get lucky one game, then he'll do something crazy.
Paul George?
Man.
What
Come
about
on,
Paul
man.
George?
Oh, he ain't ready yet. Everybody know he's not mature enough ready yet.
Paul
He's
George?
not a superstar. He's not a superstar.
Paul
Lance
George?
Stevenson?
What about Paul George?
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Paul
He
George
done let West take over his team. It ain't Paul George's team. It's West's team.
Paul George can't drop 40 though in a game.
Let me see him do it tonight. Then we'll talk.
When you guys go at it, I just want to get.
Let me see him do it tonight. Then we'll talk.
I can listen
See,
to you guys fight all day. It's hilarious.
Paul George
Here's the
doesn't have to
difference.
drop 40 for the Pacers to win. You're saying that LeBron may have to drop 40 for the Heat to win.
It's been games in the playoffs, man, that he's had numbers and other players suck.
But this isn't other
And
years.
they
And
still
other
lost.
teams. This isn't other years. This isn't other teams. We're talking about 2014.
I want to see them win. This is what I'm saying. I want to see them win when the Heat have a good game. The Heat is not going to play like that tonight. They're not going to play like that the next night. They're not going to play like that the night after night. The night after that. But when we talking about the Pacers, you never know. They might lose by 30 tonight. Come down here, get the party on South Beach, lose by 30 again. Play a good competitive game. Like, what you talking about? You don't know what you're going to get.
South Beach. Ain't nobody partying in South Beach.
Man, you kidding me, man?
Actually, it is
man.
the
Indiana
summertime. It's like
lost
prime
last
time to
year
party in
in
South
Eastern
Beach.
Conference Finals to the Heat. And this is...
And some of them dudes was out.
Same team.
Some of them dudes was out.
This is
Last
98.
year.
And that was last year. We're talking
Right.
that's what I mean.
So, last year, when they were in they went out.
And this year is different because they lost last year.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think they want to lose to the same team in the same round again.
We'll see.
Look,
See tonight. That's all I got to say.
either team that goes ahead, at least we know. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say whoever advances is going to play the Spurs, and that'll be a pretty solid series. I think either or. Those are both
Yeah.
pretty two good matchups. I'm actually As a fan,
Okay,
I kind of
Susan
want to see
ran out
the
of
Heat and
gas
Spurs
last night,
again.
though.
I kind of want to see the Heat and Spurs again in the finals as a fan. I just want to see that happen.
Yeah, that'd be tight.
We're counting out other players here, okay? Ray Allen's been playing for the most part pretty well in this whole playoffs.
I'm not counting him out.
All right, well, I'm saying, this game could determine a lot. What's going to end up happening with Ray Allen in the next game. Mario Chalmers, I'm sure they're talking to him about what happened the last game. Look, they're a tight team. They won 2 championships back-to-back. They're going for a three-peat. They know what's at stake. Look, it's one game. This may have been the best thing that could have happened to them, to be honest with you. They know they're not unbeatable, and I think that's a good thing. But I don't think it's going to make them lose the series. I don't.
Well, here's one thing. If the Heat go down 2-0 with whatever lineup they put out, I think what they need to do is maybe – and look, this is Miami. They don't need to rock the boat. They have the players, but – you put LeBron and have him handle the ball and move Chalmers to the bench and insert James Jones into the starting lineup. This way you have Jones and Shane Battier.
Not good enough defensively.
Well, look, here's the thing. Indiana's size goes away because now all of a sudden they're guarding the perimeter as opposed to clogging up the paint. Because Mario Chalmers is not as good of a shooter as James Jones is. Shane Battier can hang out in the corner. All he does is make corner threes. It really it really makes the Pacers have to thin out when you put more shooters on the court. And then when Ray Allen comes in for Wade, who is going to be in the paint at all? Roy Hibbert can't be in there because he's got
the game like a fan. You think of the game like a fan, not as a player or a coach.
Okay.
You're gonna disrupt your whole lineup and your whole chemistry that you've been going with all these years. Over one bad game, you're gonna put James Jones, who ain't played all year, in the star lineup.
No, that's why I said, look, you're the Heat. Before I said that, I prefaced it with, look, you're the Heat. You don't have to do much. You don't have to rock the boat. But if they go down 2-0, obviously something's got to change. I mean, you're down 2-0 in the series. You got to win 4 now before the Pacers can win just 2. And this is the number one seed. Look, they didn't play like the number 1 seed, but they have to be treated like one. They've got the home court advantage, and they have the players.
Well, look, that I agree with, but I think that's what happened. When they lost, that showed them they're not unbeatable. So they're respecting that the Pacers can't beat them. But I don't think they're going. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. And I know what you're saying with adjustments, but look, if anyone's made adjustments, especially at the guard and forward positions all season, it's the Heat because Wade has inconsistently been in and out of the lineup with injuries. You even made a point to that, Kyle, earlier in the season. This team is going into the playoffs now with Dwayne Wade, who has been in and out of the lineup. Like, James Jones played the last 12 games of the season. He could be ready, but are you, after 2 games, you're not going to just insert him into the starting lineup. You're not going to do that. I don't think they're going to go to that extreme.
Isn't that the point of having a veteran, though? Being able to insert him and having him...
He may break the rotation. Now he'll be in.
Yeah,
but I don't think
you throw the chemistry way off.
Yeah.
And the pace of the game.
If anything...
Well, you're down 2-0.
If anything, Shane Battier would get in before James Jones gets in for defensive purposes and whatnot, and the corner threes. Look, James Jones, him and LeBron actually play really well together when they're on the floor at the same time. That's like a known statistic. They said that throughout one of the net games, that these guys seem to play really well together when they're on the floor. But he's been ready. He knows what he has to do. Look, when we had him on the show, he even said that. He's staying ready. He said it's hard, but that's what he's mentally prepared for. He's ready to come in and hit shots when he needs to hit shots. He's not on the floor to play defense. He's on the floor to knock down that three-point shot. Okay? And if Ray Allen's off, if Dwayne Wade's off, then you could bring him in and say, all right, help us out. And he probably will. All right? Yeah. He's going to be one of those guys that steps up and hits a shot for you. I'm not blowing smoke here because we had him on the show. I'm being realistic. He's on that team because he's a great three-point shooter. He's not on that team to play defense. No. They're going to go with other options first, especially if the Pacers are scoring. They're not going to just go to James Jones like that. But, but if Ray Allen is off, if Rashard Lewis is not, if it's not working, they're going to shift LeBron to power forward. James Jones going to come in, and they're gonna work that lineup. That's how it's going to go down.
Power forward yesterday.
What?
I mean, he was at power forward in game 1.
Yeah. No, look, it could happen. Just saying, he's not going to be a starter though. All right. He's not gonna be a starter, James Jones. It's not gonna happen. And 2 games, even then, in my opinion, look, it is 2 games. You're in critical situation. I don't think you jump ship yet, though. I think you stay with what's winning. You got the three of the best players in the league on your team. Go with that. Have faith in them and have faith in LeBron. That's what I think. If I'm the coach, and look, I'm not by any means anywhere near knowledgeable as Strickland or being a coach like that. But I guess if I had three of the best players on my team and we finished with 60 whatever wins, I'm not changing it up. I'm not going, all right, well, game 2, I'm just throwing in veterans just to get this thing going. I'm not doing that.
I didn't say game 2. I said if they go down.
Game 3,
2-0.
I know. I'm sorry. But anyway, you guys are great when you argue. I love it. I get into it. I can listen to you guys all day. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I can listen to myself all day. I don't know about others.
Yeah, I know that too.
But you know what?
Snowball.
I do think that the Spurs, once you hear that Serge Ibaka is going to miss the playoffs out in the West, then they don't have any chance against the Spurs. The Spurs are too good. Yeah, it was close for a little while.
Yeah.
But look at how easy it was when Ginobili and Parker got into the paint. It was like there's no presence in there. You can't put Nick Collison. He's not the same guy. Nick Collison is not Serge Ibaka. There's no. Even Duncan said it in the postgame. Penetration and the absence of a shot blocker really hurt the Thunder. And that's going to be the whole series. He's not coming back.
All right. Before we're going to go to a quick break, but before to get this thing started, I really want to touch on one thing with the Spurs, and that's look. They pretty much manhandled Portland. And I don't think a lot of people thought that would even be possible. I think a lot of people actually thought Portland would go into that series and either beat them or put up a really good fight.
I didn't.
We know.
They're healthy.
I'm saying a lot of people
First,
though.
Healthy. That's the difference.
Right, but what I'm saying is Duncan, at his age, he's still putting up pretty big numbers. He rested most of the season. He didn't play heavy minutes most of the season. And even if he did, he wasn't relied on a lot. It's not like he was putting up 20 and 10 every night. So he was going through the motions if he was on the court. And now, they're counting on him to step up and do his thing. Tony Parker's playing really well. And the Spurs beat Portland with Patty Mills that last game. They beat Portland with Patty Mills. Okay?
Patty Mills.
They're a deep team. They're a deep team. They're well coached. That's why I still think, as good as the Heat are, I think the Spurs have the best chance of beating them. I just do. I still think they will.
Only team that can beat them right now. Yeah.
But I'm not shocked that they're running all over Oklahoma City. I mean, they just and look, Serge Ibaka, that's a big blow. They probably would have adjusted their game plan a little differently for that. But they're showing it doesn't matter. As good as Kevin Durant is, he may get them one game, maybe 2. I don't even think they'll win 3 against the Spurs and it goes to 7. I don't think so. And as long as Westbrook keeps chucking up 30 shots a game like that, Tony Parker's going to be going at him every night. As long as he's healthy,
you got to burn it up on both ends. That's the key.
And I'm just on a roll right now. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just saying, this guy's going to keep going at Westbrook.
Sound like the coach. Keep going. I'm tweeting away.
Yes, tweet away, baby. Tweet away. But no, he's going to keep going at Russell Westbrook. And Westbrook's a competitor. He's the kind of guy where, all right, you score on me, I'm going to score on you. That doesn't work well for them. Everybody knows that. That does not work well for Oklahoma City. When Westbrook becomes the hero, that's bad news, okay? Then you start pulling up for threes on fast breaks with no one there to even get a rebound. It's bad. It starts to turn really ugly, and that's not good. And we're going to take a quick break because I'm running out of breath here. All right? Hello? Everyone good with that? We're going to break.
Nope.
We're going to break. All right. Going to break. But seriously, we still got to talk about coaching when we come back. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff to talk about. I'm amped. The playoffs are here. It's coming to the end. Who's going to win the finals? All that and more when we come back. Talkin Hoopz, TalkinHoops.com.
Don't foul out. Talkin Hoopz will be right back.
I'm Mark Sanchez with a message for women. This is the actual sound of my heartbeat. I'm sharing my heart to let you know that the symptoms of women's heart attacks can be different from men's. Please learn more. All it takes is a few minutes of your time in return for years of healthy life. That's a deal even my agent couldn't negotiate. Cover your heart. Learn more. CVS Cares.
The new free CBS radio
app streams your favorite CBS radio stations, as well as all your favorite AOL and Yahoo Music stations directly to your iPhone, iPod Touch, and BlackBerry Bold. With 30 genres of professionally programmed stations at your fingertips, you can hear whatever you want, whenever you want. Stations like K-Rock, 1010 Wins, WFAN, AMP, and over 600 others. Now you can easily take your favorite stations with you on the go. The CBS Radio app is everything you wanted from streaming radio and a whole lot more. Go to cbsradio.com/mobile to download your app today.
This is AJ, and you're checking out Talkin Hoopz, where you can hear the true legends of basketball. If you missed any of the action from today's show, you can find the full episode on talkinhoops.com or youtube.com/talkinhoops. And don't forget to follow @Talkin Hoopz on Twitter and give us a like on Facebook for all the latest around the league.
Sassy! Sassy!
This week's episode, Bobcat in the Cave.
Gosh, Johnny, playing in the cave sure is neat. Oh boy, a kitty cat. Sassy, the kitty cat's yelling. What, Sassy? It's not a kitty, it's a bobcat? Speaking of cats, you'd like to stress the importance of adopting cats from animal shelters? Over 5 million cats go into animal shelters every year? And with millions of healthy cats to choose from, it's a shame more people don't adopt from shelters? This bobcat's heavy. Help, Sassy! Why bother? We'll just get into more trouble tomorrow? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nuts!
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
My dream is to become a mechanical engineer.
My dream is to be a ballerina.
My dream is to be a veterinarian.
I want to be a chef, truck driver, a teacher,
A shoe designer.
Professional skateboarder.
But right now,
I'm just a kid.
just a kid.
I'm just a kid.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
Ready to be adopted.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted. For the facts about adopting a child from foster care, contact the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
Hey guys, this is AJ. Want to talk more hoops? The greatest show is overtime.
Check out talkinhoops.com. Catch ya on the rebound.
Welcome back to Talkin Hoopz. About 15 players in the team. 14 get along. Now here's a guy who likes to dunk on his 8.5-foot ring. Take it away, AJ.
And we are back, Talkin Hoops, talkinhoops.com. AJ, Kyle, the legendary Mark Strickland with you for the show. MBRP in Miami chapter, MBRPinmiami.com. Check them out. Kyle is drinking Capri Sun on the break. Well, he was.
No! I'm not drinking. I'm drinking a jammer.
Oh, a jam. My bad.
Kool-Aid
It looks
jammer.
like Capri Sun.
You've got some pineapple drink, but I got a Kool-Aid jammer.
Yeah, no one cares about the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, right. I never even heard of that. I don't even know what brand that is.
What are you drinking over there, Strick? What is that?
Exactly.
Jamaican soda.
Never even heard of that.
Because it's Jamaican.
You gonna send me some?
We've all heard of Kool-Aid jammers.
Wow.
The whole world knows about Kool-Aid jammers. The NBA tried to replace Gatorade with Kool-Aid jammers.
All right, Strick, I got to be honest, all right? I'm sounding a little greedy, but I want some of that Monster stuff you get, and I want some of that Jamaican soda, all right? You got to ship me some, man. You got to ship me some.
I'll see what's up.
That means no.
Yeah, no, I can tell. That's like, no.
I'll get you when you come down here at the meeting with Tunde.
All right, yeah, there we go. All right, I'll go with that.
Cool.
All right, cool. By the way, nice shot at Kyle. What? Kyle hating time? What was that? Are you reading those tweets, Kyle? You seeing that?
Man, nobody wants to read those tweets. Nobody got time for that. Mark talking smack on
You be hating on the Heat, man. You always hate on the Heat.
Nobody's hating.
You always hate on the Heat. You love when they lose, man. They usually
I don't. Look,
your team lose, you come up with like Memphis. You had like 900 excuses.
Zach Randolph got hurt.
The Bulls, 900 excuses.
Listen, I keep it real. Look, I like Indiana. That's all. What can I?
That's cool. I played for them first.
You're right. Okay. I mean, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is,
let's face the fact. All right, if the Pacers actually want to beat the Heat, they're gonna have to start drinking some of that Jamaican soda.
Something. They're gonna have to do something.
That's what it's gonna come down to.
Need some discipline soda. That's what they need.
All right. Let's shift to the Spurs Oklahoma City series. It was projected to be a pretty good one with Ibaka, but now that Ibaka's not there, and we saw how just dominant the Spurs really are, I don't see Oklahoma City in the finals. I just don't. And let me ask you something. When do you decide that it's enough with this Westbrook-Kevin Durant combination? Or are we good with that for going forward for his whole career? Like, when do we make a decision on that?
The year that Kevin Durant has an opportunity to opt out.
Okay.
Well, I think this year there's going to be some type of change. Either Scott Brooks is fired, or maybe Westbrook is traded, because how many years now have you had Kevin Durant on your team, who has been a top 2 player in the league? At least 3 years now he's been a top 2 player in the league, or top 3 player. Russell Westbrook is a top 10 player. Ibaka is a defensive player of the year every year. And let's not forget that they had James Harden up until about a year or two ago. So whose fault is it after all this time? I mean, how many times can you keep rolling with the same guys and keep coming up short? Look what happened in Utah. They had Sloan, they had Malone, they had Stockton, and then these are some of the...
Right, but the Bulls had Jordan.
You have to go through same with Scotty and the Bulls. Growing pains. You got to go through growing pains, man.
Every year is a different Scotty and the Bulls for this team.
Man, I'm just telling you, man. This Serge Ibaka's down. Last year, they just lost. I mean, I don't know what happened. Last year, Westbrook, I think, was hurt or something.
Westbrook?
Like, it's always something. So, until they go into it with fully healthy roster, you don't know yet. So why shake things up now? You don't know.
Well,
you don't know what pieces you have yet. You don't know what pieces you need.
Let me put this out here.
The pieces now, Ibaka's hurt. Now you're missing a defensive piece. Like, how can you shake it up after you don't have all your guns?
Let me put this out here. There's some guys that make a lot of money in that team. One in particular, Kendrick Perkins, who clearly, when his contract expires, is not going to be back with the team. And if he is, it's going to be for a much cheaper salary. So that alone is going to open up some space. I'm sure Kyle is pulling up the ESPN, salary
might even ship him.
And whatnot right now, which would probably be good.
Well.
But if you get rid of some of these contracts, but if you can't beat your enemy, why not bring the enemy on board? And what I mean is, get a big guy like Chris Bosh on your team. Get a guy like Kevin Love with Kevin Durant, and maybe look to trade Westbrook. I mean, like, we talked about a Westbrook for Rondo trade for God knows how long, but that guy needs, if he's going to take that many shots, in my opinion, he's got to be on his own team. He can't be doing this with Kevin Durant. That's just how I feel. I think if Kevin Durant actually wants to win a finals, he needs a more pass-first point guard and a guy that's going to just keep getting him more looks.
More of a creator.
Yeah, more of a creator. That's the rest of the coach in me, by the way. I don't think I have anything left in the tank. So, straight, you can take over from here.
Coaching today. You coach of the year today.
Yeah. We'll go with that. I'm blowing up on Instagram, baby.
They got Kendrick Perkins on the books next year for $9 million. So that's an expiring contract. But still, who's going to take that on?
Somebody.
Yeah, maybe one more year of this team having not a lot of cap flexibility. Next year, they're scheduled already to have $67 million on the books. Okay, so that's it. They don't have any cap flexibility next year. Now, they could deal Perkins within the season. Of course, he has an expiring contract, but you can't say that for sure. But what we do know is that he is under contract for next year.
Right.
So you're looking at the same team going into next year.
Right.
And is this team good enough to win it all if they're healthy? They were healthy for the most part all season, and they couldn't take the number 1 seed. They still couldn't take the number 1 seed, and they were healthy for the most part. I don't know. I think Scott Brooks has had a long time with this team, and they haven't won a ring. And at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. When you have these great players, it comes down to, can you win a ring or not? If Spoelstra had no rings, look, if Eric Spoelstra had yet to win a championship with the Heat, does he still have a job?
Yep.
I don't think so.
I do.
Do you think Spoelstra would still be coaching the Heat right now if the Heat hadn't won a ring yet?
Of course.
Why would he still be the coach if they went now? This is what, their 4th year together? If they went 4 years without a ring still, he's still
4th or 5th, something like that. 4th or 5th year together, something like that, yeah.
can't.
I mean, it takes time, man. You just can't. I mean, it takes time. Clearly, they need something else other than Perkins. But I'm saying, I don't think he's going to be there because he's really not a factor. Because the guy from Kansas, the big guy from Kansas, play most of the minutes now. What is his name? Adams.
Steven Adams.
Yeah, he played most of his minutes now. So he's pretty much Perkins is pretty much out. He definitely get traded. I mean, that's not a significant piece.
He went to Pitt. I think you're thinking of Pitt. If you're thinking of Steven Adams, he went to Pitt.
Okay, I know he went to one of those schools. Some school, I know some. I know he was a big dude, and he's taking Perkins minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perkins,
He went to Kansas. You see he went to Pitt?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I will say, you know what? Actually, while we're talking about Steven Adams, he has really impressed in the playoffs. If you have a full season with this guy playing more minutes now and getting him more involved with the chemistry, that could be a change by itself. He's actually a really impressive rookie. I think they got something with this guy.
When he get experience, he's gonna be hard to deal with because then he's gonna learn how to score around the basket a little bit more. He'll be a little bit more confident.
Yeah, he had like a weird floater thing go in the other night. That was weird. I don't know what that was. I never saw a big guy do that before. But hey, it worked. So whatever, we'll go with it. But looking at what their team is now, okay, like let's take this for example. Derek Fisher may be coaching next season. How important is Derek Fisher really to this team?
I don't think he has a Jason Kidd type effect that Kidd had to the Mavericks or Kidd had to the Knicks last year. I don't think it's to that degree.
He has experience, though.
Well, he's playing. It's not even like with his experience, you would think he'd be more of a coach on that team, a mentor, but he's out there playing. So, I mean, how important is this guy and whose minutes is he taking up? Because that could factor into it also. Is Reggie Jackson going to play more? Even though I don't think he has to. He gets a decent amount of minutes, Reggie Jackson, on the bench. But that's another guy. I just feel like they were doing good without Westbrook. Durant was killing it. I'm not saying that Westbrook is a bad player, but I'm just saying.
More shots, more ball movement.
Yeah.
More shots, more ball movement.
Yeah. They weren't Kyle. What was the streak? They were like killing at one point. Durant was dropping like 40 a game.
Yeah, they were playing really well, and it's fun when the Thunder are winning without Russell Westbrook, and everybody can say they don't need him. But in reality, right now you do need him because you obviously see that the Spurs are not to be messed with. And
there you go, Kyle. I knew it was a coach in there somewhere. There you go. Come on back.
So here's the thing, though. It's nonsense to think that the Thunder are going to be a better team with Reggie Jackson and no Russell Westbrook. It's crazy. You can go on a streak of 8 or 10 in the season, but this is the playoffs. This is matchups. Coaches are out coaching you, and this is where you really need your guys to step up. And you have that in Russell Westbrook. But I will say this. Because they look so good during the season without Russell Westbrook, I can't put it past the Thunder to at least, if they don't win, explore the possibility of trading Russell Westbrook. See what's out there. I mean, look, if you're talking about Russell Westbrook, maybe trading him for Kevin Love and bringing Kevin Love aboard and having Love and Durant on the same team and then maybe either shifting Ibaka to center or trading Ibaka for another piece. Now you got Westbrook for Love and then Ibaka for who knows what you can get. I mean, you could put Durant on the same team with Love and maybe trade Ibaka for another piece, and you can have maybe even a crazier big three than Miami had with Wade, Bosh, and LeBron.
I mean, look, it was impressive with what Durant did this season. You could pretty much put Durant with anybody, and it's going to be a good team. But putting him with a guy like Kevin Love, I think obviously that would be a bigger three than Wade and LeBron, especially because, look, Wade's knees, they're a factor. He's not the same player. So I think it would definitely immediately jump them to just a big two. I think that big two could compete with Miami's big three, to be honest. But what has Kevin Love won? He hasn't even been to the playoffs yet. I feel like he should at least be an 8th seed, and that's his talent. I mean, when you have 30 and 30 games, you got to think that even if your team isn't stacked, even if you're not one of the best teams, I know we talk about this with the West, with Kevin Love on your team as a guy, he should be able to put a team by himself into the playoffs. Even if they get swept, he should be able to make the playoffs. Just make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Can I just put something out there?
Go ahead.
If they get Love, let's say they traded Love for Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
and they worked out a sign and trade, let's say with Toronto, and they gave Toronto Serge Ibaka, and let's just say a draft pick for Kyle Lowry, who's slated to become a free agent this year, and you get Kyle Lowry on the same team with those two guys. I mean, look at all the possibilities that open up when you think about trading Russell Westbrook.
All right. Here's another thing about Kyle Lowry, okay? He had a great season. I give him all the credit in the world. He really stepped up his game. You know, I honestly, like, he's really improved. He's really improved. But he could be good in Toronto. Who's the next best player on that team? You got DeMar DeRozan. Realistically, who else is on that team that's really any good? All right, Amir Johnson. He's not like a star. He's good.
Though. He's a young player though. He's young. Still young.
He's young. He's got talent. But I'm just saying, I feel like Kyle Lowry dominated on the Raptors because who was on that team? DeMar DeRozan, and that was it. You know, Rudy Gay left, and Kyle Lowry stepped his game up big time. You know, like, I feel like on other teams, he may not be the same player. I'm not sold until I see him next season play again. I'm just not. He could have just had a really good season.
Well, you got Eric Bledsoe, who's going to be a free agent. Luol Deng, who's going to be a free agent. Lance Stevenson, who's going to be a free agent. Rudy Gay, who's going to be a free agent.
Right.
There's a ton of talent out there, and if you can work out some type of sign and trade with Westbrook going somewhere or Ibaka or both of them and retooling. I mean, think about it. If you lose and you traded Westbrook for somebody and Ibaka for a few pieces, you're talking about a whole different team that may end up being better than the team that they have. And chemistry is obviously an issue, but at least explore the possibility. Put some feelers out there.
Carmelo Anthony's going to be
Carmelo Anthony, maybe.
You had to do it. You had to do it. You had to. I know he was waiting to do that. I knew it. He was sitting there going, when can I plug this? I knew it.
How can Melo and Durant coexist? I can't see that.
No, and you know what? If the Knicks bring in somehow trade, which it won't happen, but if they somehow get Kevin Love with Melo, that's not going to work. That's not going to work either. So that's not going to work. All right, Melo's staying in New York. I'm convinced. He's not leaving New York. All right? But if Melo does leave New York, the Knicks are right in the sweepstakes with those other big-name free agents that year. That's for sure because they got all that salary. So they're definitely going to be in there with that. Actually, let's segue into the Knicks because we don't have too much time left. Coaching. Derek Fisher's a candidate here. There's a report that came out earlier that said the Knicks are willing to meet with Mark Jackson, but it's likely that Phil Jackson will still pick a coach that he's previously played with or worked with. So
here's the thing. How bad have things gotten in New York when you bring in Phil Jackson, who is supposed to A, change the culture, and B, attract people to want to come back to New York, and Phil Jackson's first selection, Steve Kerr, spurns him to coach Golden State. Who turns down New York to go to Golden State? And not only that, but you turn down Phil Jackson. How bad are things in New York? Now, let me tell you how important this next coaching candidate is for New York. Because if it comes out that Phil Jackson wants Derek Fisher, and Derek Fisher also turns down Phil Jackson, you're talking about the most respected man in the NBA right now getting turned down twice. When the whole reason you brought him here was to make other people want to come.
Right.
Everything can blow up. This next coaching candidate has to be the guy that gets hired. Right. Because it is going to turn into a PR nightmare if Phil Jackson and the Knicks get turned down again. I mean, how many people, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, who's turning down New York to go to Golden State?
Well, wait a minute. Let's flip this around.
Wants to come to New York.
I got something here. Let's flip this around. Wait.
California guy. He wanted to be closer to home.
Right. But wait, let's flip this around. How about crediting Golden State for going with Steve Kerr and giving him all that money? Why? They're taking it's a crapshoot right now. This guy's never coached before.
Really crapshoot.
No, it really is. It's a crapshoot. Now wait. How about giving Phil Jackson credit? Because the fact is, no one was interested in Steve Kerr except Phil Jackson. And then all of a sudden, Golden State became a factor. Why? Well, if Phil Jackson wants this guy, he's got to be a good coach. There's got to be a reason why Phil Jackson wants to randomly insert Steve Kerr, who's never coached the game before in his life, in his life. Okay?
One more time.
Okay? Warriors went right after Steve Kerr after that happened. This was not like, look, they talked about Mark Jackson being fired, but their guy was Stan Van Gundy, and then all of a sudden, Phil Jackson goes, you know what? I think Steve Kerr is going to be the right guy for this team. Let's start negotiating. Well, now the Warriors are interested. Why are the Warriors interested? Why would you just take a rookie coach like that?
That's the new thing. Taking coaches without experience is like the new thing. Look, Mark Jackson, right, in Golden State. Jeff Hornacek in Phoenix. I mean, that was a hire that not a lot of people saw. Jeff Hornacek doesn't have the experience to be a head coach in the NBA, and look what he did with Phoenix. Look, I even was like, this guy should be coach of the year, in my opinion, because of how well he coached them. Steve Kerr is the same way. Look, Derek Fisher, he's still in the NBA, and people want to bring him in for interviews. That's like the new thing now. I don't know what, where this came from, how it started, but you don't have to have any experience to be an NBA coach anymore, as long as you were some type of a good player or a coachable player, a guy that was seen as a leader. Look, Jason Kidd is another example of that. Never a coach, and now all of a sudden that's the new thing. That's like the new fad, and we'll see where it goes. But Bill Jackson really needs this next candidate to accept the job. And when you look at Steve Kerr, I just want to touch on this because it kind of goes with the Kevin Love thing. Steve Kerr in his press conference with the Warriors said that they can use a stretch power forward. So they're looking for a guy. Guess who's on the trade market? Kevin Love, who's the ultimate stretch four. I can definitely see them trading David Lee and Harrison Barnes and a draft pick or two, and maybe Klay Thompson, even though reports say they don't want to include him. All of that for Kevin Love. That's for another thing. I just wanted to throw that in there. But Phil Jackson, man, the pressure is on. You've got Melo in free agency coming up. You've got no head coach, and you've got no first-round pick. What do you do?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, though. I wouldn't be surprised now when the Knicks start negotiating, if it gets to that, with Derek Fisher. All of a sudden, another team's interested in Derek Fisher. And that'll go back to the Steve Kerr thing. That'll literally just prove my point that Phil Jackson, everyone just wants what Phil Jackson wants, all right? It's the same thing with Pat Riley. Pat Riley has that same effect. If Pat Riley openly talks about who he's meeting with, there's going to be other teams now that just want to meet with this guy because Pat Riley's meeting with him. It's kind of like, why would the greatest mind in basketball, why would you not want to get in on that? What does he see that you're not seeing? It's got to be something. By the way, they overpaid for Steve Kerr. I'm just saying that too.
$25 million. Come on, man.
That's crazy. But I will say, like Kyle said, you got to put a coach into play with the Knicks as soon as possible, because if you do want Melo to stay, you got to have a coach in place. Now, Fisher is an interesting candidate because, first of all, he is still kind of like a player. Okay? He's more with it. He can relate to you on a lot of things. He knows the drill. He knows the grind as a player. And I'm talking about a player in this generation. Okay? He's still playing. So he knows what goes on in locker rooms. He's been the president of the union. He's got all that behind him. Yeah, he's a rookie coach, but you got Phil Jackson calling the shots just like you had Pat Riley calling the shots with Eric Spoelstra. You know, that's the Pat Riley system. So I think Fisher's an interesting candidate, and it may be enticing to Melo to be able to be in that kind of situation. But another coach who really hasn't been considered that I think would be an interesting choice, Lionel Hollins. This guy got the most out of Rudy Gay in Memphis. And I think Rudy Gay is a poor man's Carmelo Anthony. So why not put Carmelo with the coach that got the most out of Rudy Gay and see what he gets out of Carmelo Anthony? That's just how I look at it. Yeah. What do you think, Strick?
Has more experience, but I think the Knicks, man, it's so much, man, I could go on. We could be here like 2 hours, man. What they need to do, man, they have to find a coach that the players respect. That's the first thing they got to do. Maybe they respect Derek Fisher. Maybe these guys, because he was the player president, they may respect him that way. They may listen to him. I think he has the experience. He played for some great coaches. He has a lot of championships. So, I mean, I think that's a good fit. But I'm rooting for Mark Jackson. He's a New York guy. I think he knows the city. He knows what the city needs. He knows that organization. He got Rookie of the Year with that organization, and I think it'll be a great fit for the Knicks to kind of hire him. Right. I mean, I don't see where anybody else is going to come in and change the culture as far as on the bench and with the players, as far as maybe Derek Fisher, maybe, but he didn't play in that hard-nosed New York Knicks type of system. You know what I mean? Like, he knows that. Mark Jackson knows that. Was they criticized him early? I think that was last year when his players were fouling people hard. People was upset with it. I mean, that's how basketball is supposed to play. And I think the New York Knicks are known for that hard basketball play. And I think he'll be the guy that could bring that back to New York.
All right. So we're gonna start wrapping up the show here, but I want to leave you strict with this. Cool. Is Phil Jackson smart to get a coach that can run the triangle, or should he look elsewhere and just get a coach that runs some sort of system that will just fit with the Knicks as opposed to just implementing his system with the coach? Which way should he go?
Depending on which coach he gets. If he got Derek Fisher, he's gonna need that triangle offense because he knows it. It'll be easier for him kind of adjust as a coach. He can easily give pointers about the offense, understand the offense, explain the offense. Now, if he gets Mark Jackson, maybe Mark Jackson will bring maybe a different type of style offense. Maybe they have to come together on some type of offense other than the triangle. Right. I don't see the triangle being something that Mark Jackson want to sit there and coach, just kind of that type of system. I don't see that happening. After being a successful coach for 2 seasons in Golden State, I don't see how that's going to happen.
All right. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, coach.
It's interesting because I'm a strong advocate for Mark Jackson and for them to try to get Charles Oakley and for them to try to get Patrick Ewing on the coaching staff and bring that old school mentality. Here's the thing. Whoever takes over the job, though, is only going to have 1 year with these guys because, in 2 years it's going to be a totally different team because you got Amari Stoudemire on an expiring contract, Bargnani on an expiring contract, Chandler on an expiring contract. Those are your biggest names on the roster, and they're all going to be off the books in a year. So whoever takes over, it doesn't really matter what the chemistry is in terms of that because the team is going to be blown up anyway. But I will say this. I think that the Knicks need not a player's coach. They need a coach that's going to run a tight ship because they've had a lot of guys over the past few years where Knicks players have just ran all over. Mike Woodson lost control of his team. Mike D'Antoni lost control of his team. They're going to need a guy who's not going to lose control here. And I don't know. I know guys respect Derek Fisher, but when you have a guy who doesn't have any coaching experience, that kind of worries me a little bit. And I know that Phil Jackson is going to be an extension of the coach, but at the same time, the experience thing is big for me.
Has to be with him, yeah.
All right.
And I also heard that Scottie Pippen may come to the Knicks in terms of not as a coach, but some sort of management capacity, some type of advisor role.
Uh-oh.
He may be coming to New York, Scottie Pippen. So, if that happens, you heard it here, right here.
Yeah.
Right? I got my ear to the ground out here in New York.
Talkin Hoopz exclusive.
Talkin Hoopz exclusive.
All right.
Pippen, coming in New York.
We're wrapping up the show here. It was a good one. I'm hot, actually. It's like 90 degrees in the studio. It really is. Today, it really is 90 degrees in the studio.
As starting tonight, by the way.
Talkin Hoopz, talkinhoopz.com, MBRPA Miami chapter, MBRPAMiami.com. For AJ, for Kyle, for Strick, we'll catch you guys on the rebound.
Until Talkin Hoopz comes back into play, stay connected by getting at us on iTunes. Keep up to date with all the latest basketball news and rumors and check out all our shows by logging on to talkinhoopz.com.
Catch you on the rebound.